Buddy here, and today I am in probably the coolest car I've ever driven. I am in a Hellcat, and if you don't know what that is, then you've been living under a rock. The Hellcat is the car that has made Dodge a performance-driven car company again. They've had the Viper, and they started putting Hemis and Chargers and Challengers a while back, but this car makes 700 horsepower. And that's pretty freaking amazing. I'm super excited to be driving this, thanks to my buddy Dylan, who, if you didn't catch his Civic review that I did, be sure to check out the link below. And I just have to say super thanks to him and his dad for letting me take out their brand new Hellcat. This Hellcat is a little special and a little different because it does have a 6-speed manual in it. First things first that I can tell you is this car is, it's a lot. There's lots of power there. You have to be super duper careful with it, obviously. It's got a really good strong clutch in it, and if you're not used to driving a manual, this is probably not the car you want to jump in. I do, however, like the fact that it is a very stiff clutch, because with a car that's got 700 horsepower, you want that. It kind of tells you, hey, be careful with what you're doing because you're about to unleash a world of power. This car is very civilized, but at the same time, it's so eager and so ready to go that you just have to really, really respect the power that's in this car. It is a supercharged V8 muscle car, rear wheel drive. You know what that is. That means you have to be careful not to break traction, and you have to be really, really careful going around a curve and giving it too much power, or you'll end up in a ditch. I love this car for so many reasons. One, it makes me think a lot of my dad because he loves American muscle cars, and so this review is for you, Dad. Hey, Dad. I really, really do like the look of the Challenger versus all the other muscle cars that are out there. This car has the best overall look to it if you're wanting to go with that very retro styling. So another cool thing about this car that you have to be aware of when you're driving it, especially since this one is a manual and you're shifting it yourself, is the fact that this car, the gearing in this car is so long. I can go 52 miles an hour in first gear. You can get over 100 in third gear, and you've got it's a 6-speed transmission, which is nuts. Who does that in a car? It's just really, really phenomenal that you can get in something like this and you can drive it, and it's got this much power. If this car doesn't put a smile on your face, then you don't have a pulse. But at the same time, it's very civilized. You can actually drive this car pretty mildly around town and not have a problem. This car to me is it's like a comfortable jet plane. Of course, Dodge has come a long way with as far as refining the ride of the car. It rides super duper smooth. You've got Brembo brakes. They've put everything there, and this car, even though it is a very heavy car, and you definitely feel how heavy this car is, it still has a good planted stance to it. I don't feel like when I'm going, you know, out of a red light or going around a turn and I give it a little gas that it's just going to spin out and I'm going to lose control. You really have to work for that if you're a crazy person. Obviously, I'm not. This isn't my car, and I drive pretty mildly, but just driving it, just normal speeds, just cruising around, it's a lot of fun. You have to really make the power come on to really use it. Also in this car, you've got these really big, nice bolstering seats here with the suede that keep you planted. But I feel like that I'm just like sitting in a recliner or a lazy boy, like driving along. You have to be real careful in this car too, because you can almost forget, hey, I'm driving something that has 700 horsepower and that this car can do 200 miles an hour almost. And it's just crazy because it's so, right now it's just so mild. It's just crazy that Dodge has given you something that's so civilized, but yet is so barbaric and crazy at the same time. Another cool thing that Dodge gave you in this car is, of course, this beautifully huge infotainment center that does a lot of neat stuff. There's a lot of cool tech in this car. So it is very much a modern day muscle car. You've got multiple controls and driving modes. You can put it in track mode, you can put it in sport mode, and you can change, you know, how much horsepower you're getting. You've got a shift light, you've got an active launch control. So there's tons of stuff. You can just really set this car up. Dylan was showing me how to use the different driver modes and how it kind of changes some of the steering feel and things like that, and how the car responds. And it actually works. It's not just like a gimmick, and it doesn't just give you more weight in the steering wheel. It actually made the car more responsive. Also, another thing about this car that I really like is I like how Dodge has kind of upped their game with interiors. Thank you for functional air vents on the hood, not fake ones. Another thing let's talk about is the handling of this car. Now, this car is a 4,000 plus pound car. Of course, with people in it, it weighs even more. To be completely honest about the car, it's super responsive even for a heavy car. It is very much modern, and you can really tell the modern suspension is really helping this car out. And when you just drive a little heavier around a corner or around a curve, you don't feel like that you're really having to beat down on the steering wheel. I mean, I can easily drive this car one-handed, take it around some curves, take it on some bumps and things like that, and I don't feel like the car is just going to lose control. I feel like I'm in complete control of the car the whole time. Gosh, that supercharger sounds freaking amazing in this car. It's probably one of the better ones ever. I love it. So one thing that I can talk about on this car is the fact that this car is completely stock. There's no aftermarket goodies at all in this car. It's completely stock Hellcat, which is what I really want to drive. I know a few people that have some exhaust and different things like that, but this car in particular, I wanted to drive it in stock form and just see how it was from the factory stock. And I can tell you one thing that you kind of have to get used to if you're used to driving modified cars is a lot of times you can tell when to shift by sound or just the feel of it. And with this car's weight and the stock exhaust, you can't rely on that. You really have to pay attention to your RPMs, and you really have to pay attention to what you're doing whenever you're driving it. So I guess to wrap everything up and kind of tell you my overall impression of this car, is it good? Heck yes. If you're thinking about getting one, don't hesitate, because this car is freaking fun. It's comfortable. It's a great car. If you're going to drive it a lot and it's not just going to sit in your garage, this car is amazing. It's a car that's always going to put a smile on your face. It's a car that handles really well, especially for its size. That kind of took me off guard. And on top of that, it's a Hellcat. The name is Hellcat. It's got 700 horsepower. This car has a freaking supercharger that is from outer space. It's so good. Thanks guys so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social media. And as always, stay awesome.